nor a Y.
Okay. Perfect.
Yo.
We gotta find a better way to
Are we
do
live?
that. Yeah, we're live.
Okay.
Hi.
Wow. I love this.
Oh.
Hi.
Welcome.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm so good.
How are
So glad
you?
to be here.
Good.
Love that this is episode 2
Yes.
of a really important podcast at Ritual Space.
I love this.
We're here.
Can I say that I watched the first episode 3 times?
You did
All the way through.
You're a mega fan.
And yeah, so I'm really excited to be here.
Aww.
But I don't know. I got a little choked up watching it because I was like, look at my friends. Look how cool they are. And I was
So-
genuinely entertained through the whole thing. And that's why I watched it.
It's so true. We are cool.
Did you watch
So
it
who are
3
you?
times?
Yeah, will you tell us who you are?
So I was, I'm Jill. And I work here. And I call in the space. And I love to yap. And that's what I am. I'm a hypnotherapist. I'm a pal. And I'm excited.
And
for
we
this.
referred to her a lot last episode because you are the vibe curator. You and
I
Ritual
love a vibe.
Space, best
We go
buds.
hand in hand. Yeah.
We were talking about how Ritual Space is like a person and that you are so well acquainted with that person.
Yeah. She's like my baby. Ritual is my baby. She's 2.5, which is crazy. She wants nothing to do with me sometimes. She really just does her own thing, has her own friends, and I'm just here to support her and watch her grow.
I love that.
I love her so much.
Mama Jill.
That's me.
And who are you?
I'm Steven. That's it.
Hi, Steven. Hi.
I've been a member of the co-working space for, how long has it been? 6 months? 4 months? 3 months. I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 months.
But time
It could-
is, what is time?
You could
actually?
have been here since forever or like
It was like-
yesterday. I can't really tell.
Something like that.
Time,
months.
time happened.
Yeah.
And you're here.
Yeah.
Now
We're
I'm
glad.
here.
Since
In the
January.
present moment.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like January.
Yeah.
So I've
Present
been
moment.
going to yoga classes next door and then working at the co-working space quite a bit.
Yeah.
So that's me.
Cool.
And who
I'm
are you?
Heather, and I'm a psychic medium. Claire Consultant is the name of my business that I operate under. And lately, I have been branching out into really focusing and honing in on relationship work. And the reason why is because when I look at the world and I see a lot of the problems, I see a lot of people not being able to like relate to each other
Mm.
in healthy ways, and it's playing out on this very expanded political scale. And I think part of that is because we don't have these great relationships with ourselves. We're very harsh, we're hard on ourselves, and we like validate that when somebody's hard on themselves. They're like, oh yeah, that's what I want to be, instead of like motivated and accomplished, but also have that softness and that rest and peace and like inner resourcefulness, you know? And I think then that's playing out in our romantic relationships and in our family relationships, and then country to country.
We're all just a lot of dysregulated people
Yeah.
up in this.
And I
piece.
don't think that there's a lot of examples of this is a healthy relationship. This is how a challenge happens in a relationship. And then this is how that challenge can get resolved without, like, sometimes it does just need to be like, we're done with this. Like, there's a healthy way to do that. And then there's also a healthy way to conflict resolve. And I think that part we really haven't, as a people, learned how to do that in a healthy way. So I've been really drawn toward doing that work. That was long,
Nice.
but I
That's-
feel
That's
very
important.
passionate about it.
I
so.
love that.
Yeah, the dysregulation part, if anybody's watching that can relate to burnout, I was going through burnout a couple of years ago and I've been healing ever since. But it's like the relationship with work, which is similar to like a relationship with a person where you can
Mhm.
just be really dysregulated and not aware and pushing really hard.
Yeah.
And then you might reach like a breaking point where it's like, I need to do something different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know burnout myself. And it's taken me years, I think, to heal from that. I'm still
Yeah.
healing from it.
I think I'm still healing from that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if we're honest, it's a long thing. I mean, it's like generations of
Oh, yeah.
reinforcement of that. So
Mhm.
The American way.
that's right. cultural reinforcements.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah.
A great conditioning.
So what is going on coming up at Ritual Space in case there's somebody who thinks that we're kind of cool and wants to meet more cool people like us?
Yeah, we got some cool stuff happening. May is kind of marking a beautiful transition point for Ritual Space. We're a ritual wellness space and ritual yoga studio space. Ritual yoga space. I can say words. And as of May 1, the studio is moving into Bar Roots Studios. So we're really excited for Kelly. She is expanding her business full time and taking over that space for herself.
And she's an amazing example of a powerhouse.
Hell yeah.
Aligned.
Hell yeah.
Momentum.
Yeah, she has literally fulfilled the prophecy, I think, of Ritual Space in our original.
The fulfiller of the prophecy.
She truly is.
Love that.
She came into this space and rented space to grow her business, and now that is her business. She's taken over, and it's a beautiful thing. And she's built a beautiful community that I benefit from so much. So I'm really excited for her. We still offer classes in the studios, nights and weekends. We have a beautiful partnership. It's like a Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin Robbins situation.
Okay.
That's how I would describe the studio.
Right. I love that.
Starting on May 1, so tomorrow. And then in this space, we have a lot of great things going on. We have a bunch of different classes in the studio, Monday through Wednesday and the weekends. And then we have a womb retreat, a day retreat for women, people with womb spaces, on May 10th, Saturday, May 10th. And I'm really excited for that.
Is that the theme of May? Is there a theme?
That's the theme of May as well. It's the
womb healing.
Womb healing.
And that's a theme that we want to talk about tonight.
I want to talk about it. I think it's a really interesting topic. I've had my own journey with womb healing.
And you're going to be leading that. It's a retreat.
It's a day retreat, yep.
With Sarah as well?
Sarah Lashab of Healing Loudly LLC. She's a therapist. And she is incredible. And so we have partnered to bring this space together, but we have a slew of other amazing practitioners that are also going to be hosting and holding space. So we have, I'll be doing the opening ceremony and guided meditation to set the tone for the day. This space will be transformed into a womb of itself, a really safe and comfy place to relax and hold space for each other. Dee Garcia will be leading our yoga class. Maddie Eagle from Flying Eagle Kombucha will be catering lunch. Her and I are creating a menu and brunch for the gals on that Saturday. And then Sarah's leading a section on self-compassion, and we're ending our day with communal yoni steam with Zaylene Gonzalez.
Hell yeah.
And Reverie Blooms will be here helping curate the vibe with her flowers, and everyone gets to take home the flower arrangement as well.
Oh, that sounds so fun.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of time.
That
a lot of time. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Packed with so much fun.
It's going to be, I hope it's fun. I think it will bring up things. I feel like womb healing isn't like this like warm and fuzzy thing always.
Good point.
But I wanted to curate a space to explore that in a way where there's built-in support and we can still like hold pleasure and discomfort at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It's designed to be a really comfortable, restorative space to receive and also to like explore this. Because I don't know about you or you. I know you don't have a womb, do you? No. But in the realm
you have
of
a sacral chakra.
Yes.
And we're grateful for your support.
Yes. In the realm of sacral healing and womb healing, I don't know what your conscious awareness or work around that has been. For me, it's been kind of like accidental. And then
I think it was knowing that this was something that Ritual Space was hosting and that this topic was going to come up. I think I started thinking about it and I realized this is hard for me to think about. And I couldn't quite place why. But then I realized, because I was kind of going within, I was like, am I disconnected from my womb? Am I not like connected to my sacral? And I think the reason why is that it's such a different place than my mind. It's almost like it's not meant to be crawled around with thoughts. It's not a house for the thoughts. It's not a house for the mind.
Yeah.
it's a space, but it's almost like I had to really kind of sit and think a little bit about how I would put what it is and what it feels like and how I've experienced it to words. It's like had to go a long
Yeah.
distance all the way up
Yeah.
to my brain and then out
Yeah.
my mouth. So I had a journey just thinking about it, honestly.
Yeah. How did that go? What did you think about?
Okay, so here's the best I got as far as like what I consider the womb. I mean, it's a uterus,
Sure.
technically.
Yeah.
That's like the anatomy of it.
Yeah.
Right. I think of it as a room.
Yeah.
Within, and I think of it as a very sacred space, and I think of it as the seat of the divine in my body. So I've been certified in theta healing, and one thing you do is you ground down and then you go up to God or source, if you want to call it whatever you want to call it, and going up to reach source and thinking about like it being up in outer space with the planets and the stars felt really uncomfortable to me. And so in order to commune with God, I actually brought it back down right into my sacral. And that feels like the throne room of a divine, that's where it lives. It's like, it doesn't necessarily, the throne is not in my heart, it's in my womb.
Yeah.
It's in my sacral space, you know.
That's
and
powerful.
So it's a room. A womb is a room for me.
Rooms to go.
But it's
I think that should have been
wombs to go.
So
that was a working title that we mixed, but it was great, and I'm glad you mentioned it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Before we get too far down the rabbit hole, the theme of the month is womb, isn't it? Womb/sacral.
Yes.
Root chakra, or sacral chakra.
Yes.
So how does that, for like the ritual space, you have Sunday rituals.
Mm-hmm.
Are they all that theme? Are they all based on the same type of awareness? And
I
just wanted to touch on that for anybody that might be curious.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the theme of the month is womb and sacral healing, and so through the different whether it's conversations that we're having in the space, especially in Sunday ritual, it'll be around
Gotcha.
Sacral and womb healing. The retreat obviously highlights that on the 10th, but I'm hoping through some breath work and sound healing and the different other spaces we'll have this month, that we can kind of explore different ways of connecting with that space.
Cool. Yeah. I like that it's the whole month. You can kind of approach it at your own pace.
Right. Because I think it's a complex thing, and I think there's layers to it. And I think there's also, you can't talk about the sacredness of it without talking about the pain that's there as well. And that's a whole thing too.
Yeah. My whole journey with womb healing for myself started within the past year. And I was working through a lot of challenging emotions, triggered by a relationship that had ended for me, but also then just brought up so much other things I needed to address. And I was feeling so much sadness and discomfort. And I remember one day I was actually sitting in this room. No one else was here. And I just took myself on a guided meditation, hypnosis journey. And I was like, where is my pain? Where is my sadness? What does that look like? How can I understand what's happening for me? And I was taken to my womb space, my sacral chakra. And I felt like I could see myself absolutely distraught, devastated, just this broken image of a woman. And it brought up such wounds around abandonment. And then I think in that moment I realized I've abandoned myself in a lot of ways. So in that meditation for myself, I was able to I remember in the meditation I picked myself up and I held myself, and then I shrank into a baby. You know, it was a really powerful imagery for me to experience.
Wow.
And then I also created my womb space as a room because it was dark and it was sad, but as I was confronting those emotions and that wounding, that was, far before any person could make me feel that type of way. I wanted to feel good in that space.
Yeah.
And so I created as a room, and I allowed it to be. It was like, like the sky at sunset, and it just becomes like red and orange and pink. It was like very much that color. There were clouds, and maybe I perceived like water, so maybe it was like sunset. But then there was like a big clam shell, like Venus de Milo, and it was like a bed, and it was very luxurious. And I just allowed myself to create that space in a way that allowed me to feel comfortable and safe, and maybe like sensual, but like for myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like secure in my own body, my own energy. And I would keep going back to that room as I was working through these abandonment wounds for myself. And it really helped me so much. So that's a lot of what has inspired me to want to create this space and ask for others to help me.
Well, I think that visual is striking.
Right?
Yeah. And I love that.
On me.
I love that it made such an impact on you that you can like go back to that place. It's almost like you decorate it, which I love even further because sacral is all about creativity and expression. And like, especially you, because your creative expression is curating the space of ritual space. So
I'm really into rooms. Yeah.
You love a room.
I love a room.
And now you love your
womb. Your womb is a room. But you can do that with any chakra.
That's beautiful.
Right? You can do that with I've done that with my heart chakra.
Decorate?
Yeah.
Renovate.
Create it as a room.
Chakra.
So I would challenge you all to do that too. Like,
let's do that.
Let's explore your sacral chakra. Go there. Drop in. Take stock. What does it look like? But how do you want it to look and feel?
Yeah.
I'm way too excited inside my brain about a workshop that we decorate our chakras. It's a thought. We'll bring it to life.
Okay.
I'm super excited about it. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Please.
I like the idea. It's like a Kundalini. The idea about Kundalini. You can kind of imagine like your energy flowing like upwards through you. And if you're like imagining like your energy swirling around your sacral chakra and like kind of it flowing up through your other chakras where you're like putting awareness in them, kind of like activates them, and then you can like express your creativity through like your voice or for me, like my voice and my hands feel very similar. So it's like you can channel your energy and express it through like creative acts, through speaking or even like dancing or moving, or yoga or whatever it is. And like that's kind of a cool way that I've visualized like the energy flowing through my body.
The creative energy flowing.
Yeah, like the creative, like the sexual energy. Some people might say, but
that's the place for got it. I love that. Yeah, I think that I mean, I think there is an interesting thing of having like a masculine sacral and then a feminine sacral. People who have wombs, and the differences as to what it's like there, because I mean, I've never not had one. So but it's that area of creativity and sexuality. So I know it might show up differently.
So there's the yoni, which is the female sacral.
Okay. Explain this.
What's part. Okay.
What? Wait.
I mean, I'm learning. Okay. I created a retreat so I could also learn about it. My understanding of the yoni is that is our womb space. That is our feminine sacral, sacred space. Right. So for this retreat, we're doing a communal yoni steam. So allowing us to like connect and cleanse that energetic space. But what is the male equivalent?
I didn't tell you.
The yo-no. No, that's not.
I remember, but I don't. But for men.
All good.
Yoni, but
I think
lingam.
Your Google search history.
Don't look at it.
Yoni, but for men. A man styled.
It's a lingam.
Okay. Lingum.
A.M.
A.M. Okay. Heard it here. We heard it here first. You might have already known that. Listener,
I knew,
friend,
but I forgot.
Friend in the camera.
We have one friend.
Hey.
Hey.
Who is it?
We also have an audience
Who could it be?
tonight.
What's up? Yeah, shout out to our audience.
Off camera. She's really here.
And we're live. No cuts, baby.
Okay,
Yeah.
I do want to talk about the pain part, which I don't know how
Shall
to segue
we?
into that.
No,
It's
no
clunky.
segue. Let's just cut into pain.
Transition. All right. So when I was also thinking about it, it's complicated because I think that there's a layer of I want to talk about how frustrating patriarchal thinking has been. And I think that as somebody who grew up very much entrenched in those ideologies and taught that, I mean, I think we all were.
Yeah.
And I think it has probably done some damage that I'm not even fully aware of yet, even if I know there's a little bit there. But just the idea of like, your punishment is pain in childbirth for sin. Like, this is a myth that has guided so many of our lives and permeated our culture in so many ways that we are cursed essentially in that area. For like thousands of years, women have had to bear that burden, and without even really being given an option. And beliefs shape so much of your reality.
Yeah.
And I think as an adult, so I have had children, and I'm okay with sharing that I've also had miscarriages. So I had 3 miscarriages before I had my first son, and then I had 3 sons after that, with no miscarriages in between there. That was my personal journey. And so there was a time where when I was having my second son, I was trying, I first got a
I'm so sorry.
Oh my God.
Alex is. Hi, Alex.
Hi.
We love you.
Hi.
Leonie is a badge, yes. Sorry. I did not mean to.
It's okay. It's okay.
That's funny.
It's okay. We're hanging out. We're having fun. But yeah, I think so. The second time I was trying to give birth, I had just gotten introduced to hypnosis. And I did like a hypnobirthing thing all through pregnancy. And I was like, I'm going to have the most amazing time here. And I think it definitely helped to do that for sure. But it was definitely pretty excruciating for me personally, just because I chose to, instead of getting a second C-section in a row, because my first was, I chose to labor and so do a VBAC. And I ended up laboring for 42 hours and then getting a C-section because it just, things weren't flowing. And I think I know that not everybody is this way. I know some people, they really adapt to pregnancy and it really doesn't bother them as much. But I know for me, just being pregnant in and of itself was painful for me. It was very healthy pregnancy, but it was very difficult for me. And I wonder how much of that was because of these beliefs that were passed down that were not necessarily mine, but I didn't at the time at least really know how to shed that, even though I was trying. And so I felt this like disconnection and this frustration about this disconnection. So I think there's a lot of that probably. I mean, this is about womb healing. And the reason why it needs healing is because all the negative press that it gets.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting with what you said.
Yeah,
because
it's a lot.
It's true. And I'm personally trying to take my hypno practice into hypnobirthing. And it's been a journey for me. It's something I've been interested in for a long time.
Wow, I love that.
I'm excited for
I'm
it.
excited.
It feels
for that.
shiny, right? It feels very important.
Okay.
And I think it's a natural progression of the work that I do, especially surrounded by so many women. And I have a lot of pregnant women in my life, especially in this time of my life. I'm in my early 30s, and all my friends are having babies. It seems. And I've had this imposter syndrome because I have not had a child. And so I felt like, well, what makes me able to like do this? I'm sure I am the hypnotherapist, but like, can I really serve like women who are going on this journey. And it's been reinforced over and over again. Like people are like, yes.
Definitely. I mean,
Yes.
I was very bare minimum, like barely meditated at this point in my life. So to have you there would have been amazing. Just have another person.
Someone to kind of stabilize the energy to some extent.
And solidarity. I think solidarity is so healing for women. It's like you're not the only one, and we're all kind of here together and encouraging each other. Can I say something about that? A little story. So the second time I was giving birth, the nurses that came in were saying like very brutal things because it's not normal to labor after a C-section. And I was crying and I had to just like make them leave. And I felt so alone in that moment.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to have somebody there who could say, like, trust yourself, trust your body, do what you need to do. And the entire birth was very healthy. Everything was okay. And the way it progressed needed to progress that way. And I have no, like, regrets about anything that happened. But I really had to do that by myself.
Yeah.
And it just seems like something that ought to be a little more communal.
You would think there would be more advocacy for women going through that experience, but I think you bring up a really strong point with patriarchal systems that we exist in, especially if you're having hospital births. From what I'm learning, I'm kind of in the beginning stages of this journey of learning hypnobirthing and doula ship. So there isn't advocacy built into that. Right. That's something you have to seek in your community to advocate you and your needs. Yeah. I was listening to a podcast and I learned that there's like underground systems. Have you seen this?
What?
There are communities of people that you can connect with if you talk to the right people, of finding doulas and birth workers that advocate and support like natural home births, even if you've had a C-section previously,
really?
Which is kind of to your point, like not something that's typically done.
Right.
But like women should have autonomy in their birth experience.
Exactly. It should be the choice of the person who's doing the birth.
But oftentimes there isn't. And I think that's one example of a bigger issue.
Well, that patriarchal idea of I know better for you than you.
Yeah. Let me tell you about your womb space.
Stay out of my uterus. People.
Yeah.
Well, unless I welcome you into that thing and I ask and I'm ready for your like information, like where is the wisdom of the woman with the womb respected? Yeah.
It's out there.
It's out there. It's out there.
It is. It exists.
Yeah.
I just, obviously we're having this conversation to make it more normal.
Yeah.
More normalized because it's clearly there.
Yeah.
Those kinds of spaces.
And I think people have difficulties and there is healing spaces for it. I had no real connection to anything like that at the time. I was still very much in the patriarchal framework more than I am now.
So interesting.
And not to change the topic exactly.
Transition.
I am curious, like a little bit of a shift into the baby's perspective.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask you, you don't have a womb, but do you remember being in a womb?
I don't remember.
Okay.
But it seems really brutal, the system where the babies are coming out and there's probably like bright lights glaring into it and people are like just talking really dramatically and fast and like cold and there's it's not like compassionate love that they're being birthed into. It's probably like manufactured metallic white bright light that feels really painful.
Yeah.
So like
shock.
That's the first thing that they experience, and it seems like that could be more
nurturing.
Where their first experience and like as they're going through this huge transition is more loving.
I think there is a place for grief in the journey of what could have been, what could have been better, and some sense of justice in that if we talk about it, maybe somebody else can make different decisions. Maybe somebody else can reach out to a community and get that for themselves. maybe if we talk about that, because the more of us that are aware and the more we're willing to express, like, it is great to talk about the womb as a seed of God and it's our creative power and it's the sexual power and all of that, but there's pain there too. Generational pain. And it doesn't have to be something that's like, oh, we don't mention that or hush hush about that, because when it's brought out in confidence and, when you choose to bring that out, then there can be womb healing for all of us, like in the future as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, just the dialogue happening around it is, I mean, I'm a man, so a lot of this is like, I don't know much about it.
Yeah.
But even like being a part of the conversation is helpful for just like the awareness around it and how to talk about it and how to have empathy in those types of situations.
Right, because how would you know if people with wombs keep quiet or are ashamed to bring that up?
Yeah.
I'm curious. I mean, okay, I'm going to turn the spotlight on you for a second. I'm just curious. We're talking about birth. We're talking about children. Do you want to have children one day?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just curious if you have...
I'm ready.
Thumbs up.
He's ready.
Sign me up.
He's broadcasted on everybody. So I'm just curious, have you like put any thought into like that experience for you?
Into the like
birth
the birthing experience?
Obviously, your partner would have a say in that as well, but I'm just curious if that's something that you've thought about.
I haven't really thought about it much, to be honest. I do know I want kids, more than one. Few. I don't know how many.
A gaggle.
Yeah. Give or take.
Give or take a few. A gaggle.
No, less than a gaggle.
Yeah. But I feel like being a facilitator of the conversation and like allowing the conversation to happen in us both kind of being aware of what each other might want, and maybe that kind of like, maybe she wants something very specific, or maybe we kind of like bloom that idea together. So like being available to talk about it is kind of
available to talk about it. And what I will say to address as somebody who gave birth, especially my third son, my husband was very much like, in the way in, we were like reviewing, like, what is it that you want? Okay, you want this. I opted for a C-section. Okay, you want them to hand you the baby as soon as they can. This is what's going to happen. You want to make sure you get this medicine at this time. Like, I, by the third time, had known what I wanted and communicated that very directly. The first time I was just kind of like, I don't know, let's see what happens, and that kind of thing. But by the third time I was like, yeah, I know what I want. And it was very supportive for him to review that information, to care about that information. And it came with a sense of protection. If I forget, he's going to remember.
Yeah.
And he's going to shore that up. And it kind of still created this barrier of like protection for me when I'm not at my peak strength.
Yeah. Just having a teammate is huge.
Yes. Yeah. And I guess I don't want to say peak strength, but when I'm focusing all my strength on one very specific thing, and I'm not going to be thinking about the normal things that I'm thinking about. Yeah. It's probably peak strength to give birth. Let's just I'm going to say that at the end.
Yeah. I have no experience in that, but I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you birthed 3 babies into this world.
I sure did. Yeah. And I think
that's crazy.
I think that's another, like, the pain of childbirth, but then the pain of child loss as well. It's like, how can a place that is so holy be also a place where life, the spark of life happened and then didn't continue? But I think that for me and my journey, the piece that I found with that is that spark of life was there. And I enjoyed it just as I'm enjoying my children now. And our only job is to love. And so if that was the amount of love that it needed, great, it found it with me, And so I think that helps me to kind of release and not necessarily hold the pain of that. It's also been a lot of years and I've processed that a lot. So I'm in a different place than the initial shock and pain and grief of all of that. And anybody on that journey, that could be a lifetime. That's everybody's circumstances are totally different. And with things like miscarriages, it can feel so emotionally activating. And
Absolutely.
I think anybody's emotions around that are perfectly what they need to be for that moment and deserve to be given space and held sacred. But I think that it's just really interesting, me seeing it as a seed of God. It's like it is this portal where life comes through and can be created. And it's like, okay, so physical human life, but also ideas and the creativity that we can bring life to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What about you? Are you planning on having kids and bringing them into this world a certain way?
I see that for me. I do see it for me. I don't know who, what, where, when, or how. Well, I know how.
How though? I don't know.
There are a lot of question marks around that. I see that for me, but I think when I reflect on myself as a woman, a single woman in my 30s, I feel like I've gone from, honestly, when ritual space came into conception, we'll use that word.
I like it.
I feel like I kind of moved from my maiden era into my mother era, because this is my baby, right? This business, this project, this creative pursuit, I birthed this. There's a lot of pain involved in this as well, but a lot of joy. And it's beautiful to watch what I've created to grow. Even with this podcast, this is something that I envisioned in the beginning, and now it's birth, right? It's here, and it just, all in divine timing, things happen. So I don't put pressure on that timeline for myself to have actual children. I trust it'll happen when it will. I am in my mother era. She's giving mother. I love being around children. I've had kids camps in here, I have a lot of friends with kids, spend a lot of time with kids, so.
You're like my kid's favorite person.
They're my favorite, so it's mutual. We're mutually obsessed with each other. I just think kids are incredible. They're just so pure and so much better than all of us. But yeah, I want that for myself. I don't know the path there. I'm on the path somehow. It'll clear.
Yeah.
But even not being an actual, literal mom. I do have a cat. I didn't birth him though. Adopted mother.
Adopted mother. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of challenges go with cats.
Oh, listen.
It's not always easy.
That boy brought me so much grief.
To have a cat child.
Oh my God.
It
He was
counts.
just constantly sick. Anyway. But I feel like right now my mother energy, my womb energy is centered in my creative endeavors, and also figuring out what is pleasurable for me. I've been single for I've not been in a committed relationship since 2019. How many years is that?
Ooh, that's a good 6 years.
Okay, math.
6 years.
6 years, yeah. Because I had a lot of healing that I felt I had to do. I don't think I realized it was womb healing at the time, but I've learned that now that is. And after my last significant relationship where I made the most impact on me, I would say, I think that's obviously what spurred a lot of this, and for me to explore the simplest question of, what do I want?
Yeah, that's been such a big one for me too.
What do I want? What is it? And what am I attracting?
How do you figure out what you want even? Like
And first
close
of all,
your eyes and go down to your sacral.
Bibbidi bobbidi boo. I think that it's really something to highlight that everybody's going to have a different path and different choice. But if you're going to take 6 years for this work, that is powerful that you have given that to yourself.
Not to say I haven't explored my
Sure,
anyway.
but this was a time frame of exploring healing.
Yeah,
that's
exploring what
amazing.
I wanted.
That's massive.
And
you're aligning to what you figuring that out, and then it's going to be that much more aligned.
Yeah. I've had to explore a lot of, I've had to process a lot of experiences and a lot of decisions that I've made when it comes to partnership and relationships and exploring myself in that way. Connected, I guess, to womb healing is the sexual healing and expression, and doing that confidently. And for me, that was a generational journey that I took on exploring dynamics in relationships and marriage and what I value, and am I aligned with marriage, in the traditional sense in which I was brought up, trying to understand the conditioning there and relearn that so I could really live authentically in what I value. And I do believe in committed partnership, life partnership, children, sharing that journey with another person, but clearly not in a rush to like lock that down. I wanted to be in alignment with, I think I realized that I so much valued what I was creating artistically, business wise, that was going to be the priority for the foundation of my life, and then everything else is built on top of that because it only supports the greater picture.
Ooh, that's very earth energy of you.
Thank you. Taurus season.
It's Taurus season.
It's giving.
It is.
Yeah.
That, I mean, I think that, sacral center is the center of desire.
Yeah.
It's where that bubbles up. It's where you have to tune into to truly, like, that gut instinct of, yes, this is for me, or this is not for me.
Right.
It's very communicative, but it's very simple communication. Yes, no, do not question me. I feel like it's a strong communication.
And I don't know, you human design?
Yeah,
you've explored this.
Yeah,
you have explored this
recently.
Yeah, but go for it.
My human design manifesting generator. I don't know if that's anything to do with that, but I'm like sacral led, so I have to, the way that I make decisions, I have to, like, if I'm in alignment with myself, it's listening to what my sacral says. So clearly that's been the path that I've been realizing before I even knew what the fuck human design was. But it makes sense. Like, I know a yes when I feel it in my sacral. Like, if it lights me up, it's a yes. If it doesn't, or there's a repulsion, then it's a no.
Tuning into your inner compass is such a big thing that I've been learning over the past. Like, I'm not saying I'm good at it, but it's been something I've been becoming more aware of.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, over the past 2 years probably, instead of making like forward momentum that was like predetermined and I knew what it was and whatever, it was more so like shifting my direction and becoming aware of like your inner yes and no. Like your intuition. Like knowing what you want when you feel it in the present, instead of like planning it in your head beforehand. Right. So just like adjusting your compass.
Right, because I have chills when you say that, because it's the idea of trusting your gut even with uncertainty. And it's like, how much do you trust yourself?
Yeah, that's like the game.
Oh, that is the game right there.
It's like the universe is asking you to trust it. And that's
and you're the universe. And it communicates through
your inner yes and no.
And
whatever that is.
And think of all the experiences that you've had in your life that might tell you that that's not safe to do that.
Yeah.
And that lives in your sacral. And that's why I'm excited to like explore this concept. It's certainly not like a comprehensive exploration, especially what we've created for May 10th, but I'm hoping it's a series. I hope it's an ongoing conversation. I hope it's something that we can do a lot and just normalize. And community is talking about it and exploring it, because I think womb healing implies that you have trauma, or that there is like a dis-ease or something wrong with you. So this is really more of an exploration of exploring that for the self and addressing any blocks or trauma or experiences that might keep us from listening to our intuition, listening to our creative impulses, our empowered yes, our sense of empowerment. Honestly, I think it all really can stem from the sacral. But also that's where we hold a lot of pain that would contradict that.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been really playing with that idea of like, if there's something that I know that I want and I have a desire for it, and I feel disconnected from that, like it's not mine, than the process of unraveling what is in between. Instead of trying to force that, it's like, wait a second, how do I address this block and that grief and this misguided idea and this, you heard this as a child, but this isn't serving you anymore, and kind of gently addressing each thing in the way until you and the desire are connected.
It reminded me of Michael Singer.
Love Michael Singer.
Love her.
Love
Sorry.
for him.
But yeah, it's like the releasing samskaras, or releasing like the friction, or like the feelings that come up that might be like resistance right in the moment. Like something comes up and you're like, oh, I'm aware of it, and then you kind of process it, feel it, give it the attention, kind of let it go, and then it's like kind of not as reactive anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then like you can let life flow through you more easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like tuning into the sacral, like what that even means. Like, how does somebody do that? That process of how do we tune into our womb space, our sacral chakra, our desire center? Because there's a journey from your mind to your sacral. And so go there. Well, what do you think is the, like, how would you, if somebody said, how do I tune into my sacral? What process would you give them, or like initiate them on to explore on their own?
Well, just from experience, I would say meditation, guided meditation, hypnosis will help with that. Follow your mind, follow your thoughts, create that in your mind, go there, see what comes through for you subconsciously. I would also say like doing specific like yoga to help you physically move around the hips, especially. Yoni steaming. A lot of the practices that we're going to introduce to the community in the retreat, but there are also just so many different ways. Like maybe like energy healing and Reiki is something. I don't know if I can masturbate. Like you could connect to it in that way too. Like this doesn't have to be, it's not meant to be, I don't think womb healing or connecting with the womb or sacral space should be challenging. If anything, it should be exalted by pleasure.
Yeah.
Quite frankly.
Yeah.
So whatever
Absolutely.
brings you pleasure, baby.
Liberated.
Yeah, like honestly, whatever sparks joy, whatever brings you pleasure, whatever you desire, like giving yourself permission to explore that, I think is a great exercise of connecting with your sacral.
I love those
in your own
ideas.
space.
Yeah,
I love that.
Especially a lot of beliefs that we might have been given through being raised.
Yes.
So like generational beliefs, and letting go,
Yeah.
and maybe exploring something that resonates with you more
Yeah.
now, and feeling that in the present, rather than latching onto something that you're like unconsciously were given, like programmed.
So you're saying like kind of tune in and almost analytically like make a list of the beliefs that are coming up when you tune in, and then and what you want to replace it with.
Like maybe you feel guilt about something, but you want to do it. Like maybe your sacral is talking to you.
Yes. Interesting. Guilt. That feels like a connection.
For me, it was coming from Christianity.
Yeah.
That's what comes to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Big yeah. I think for me, sure. But I think for me first, I think there are a couple things that come up to work with the sacral. Is one, just feeling that space.
Yeah.
Like with your hands, like on your tummy or whatever, on your hips.
Yoni massage.
Yeah.
Lingam massage.
Yeah. But also internally, just giving it like some space and some focus. Like, what does it feel like in there?
Yeah.
What does it feel like? And I think for me, something that is interesting that my body holds is I remember like a very prominent female in my life constantly looking at this space in the mirror and just so disappointed about what it looks like. And I think I honestly think that wound is something that's very generational for me, because I think my body is built to where this area is large on me. It always has been. And I think one thing that I'm that I've learned in the last few years is like, what happens when you just are like, I love you like this. Like, you don't have to change. Let's be this way. Let's be just like this. And then being pregnant and your body changing so much that way, and then it expanding even more for me, being able to, instead of direct those thoughts of frustration toward that area that we were told a body is supposed to be shaped this way in order for you to be a desirable, worthwhile human being as a female, because that's definitely the conditioning I got. I don't know about other people, but I definitely got that. Instead of thinking that, thinking just kind thoughts like, the skin is so soft here, or like, thank you for being here today, or just like very basic, simple thank yous, instead of just like, ew, that's not really fair.
Yeah, is that ew even your voice?
Exactly.
Whose voice is that?
Yeah.
And who is that voice? Is it your mother? And then who told your mother that, right? That shit is conditional. That is generational. That is societal. It's bogus. What does your voice say?
And when you say that, that makes me want to fight for it, because it's like,
it's not even your voice that says it.
Well, and so when I think of like my mom believing something that's not true, I'm like, oh no, who's telling my mom this stuff? I'm gonna come get them. Like, what is
my
this?
mom?
Yeah, like almost like I feel more protective.
If anyone's looking for like a book recommendation, this is just a thought that provoked. The Painted Drum by Louise Erdrich talks about the generational dynamic between women, especially mothers and daughters, and how the daughter is often the teacher and the protector of the mother in a lot of ways. It's a very powerful story around that. So maybe that's really interesting to you.
That's interesting to me.
It's one of my favorite books, but what you just said really made me feel and think about that.
Yeah. I like what you said when you were talking about feeling your body and just what it feels like.
Yeah.
So I don't know a ton about the chakras, but a little bit. And also I feel like if you feel into your heart, you can kind of feel different types of emotions. Like love kind of comes out of there, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Your solar plexus is maybe like that anger, like you want to defend and stand up for something.
Yes.
Like that's like a different type of energy, and you can really feel it in your body. And that's kind of where it comes from.
Activating.
Yeah. So just like feeling your body and just allowing it to like whisper to you, kind of like listening to the subtle feelings in your heart, in your solar plexus, and your sacral chakra. You can kind of get these different types of like feelings about like what the energy is. So yeah, I like to like have some more awareness around it, just sitting with it and feeling. Even
I will say, like, belly dancing, I think has been super fun. Now I'm not going to do this in front of another human being because that's just for me. But to be okay with like the movement of that and the fun of that.
Yes.
And I think alongside that, what I will do and what I think is really important is I don't, like, in my home, I don't want my children to see me ashamed of that part of myself. So I don't mind if I have a shirt that shows my belly and I'm walking around just at my home privately that way, because I think it's important to teach others how to embrace that by being an example of, I am this way with this body and this stomach, and as much hate as the world gives it, I'm okay with it, and I can still be me, and I can still be confident, in this body as it is, and be the example of that. Absolutely. I think those are really healing things as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, womb healing, man.
Womb healing.
It's so...
It is.
Expansive.
Well, honestly. I'm excited for your retreat.
I'm excited too.
Sounds like it'll be amazing.
I really am excited, and I trust that it's attracting the right people that are going to benefit from it. This is my first time ever curating a retreat and creating that and hosting it. It's a goal I've had for a long time. And, I'm making some mistakes along the way. I'm figuring it out. I'm building the plan as I fly it. And I know that the content of that day is going to be immaculate. And I also want to do it often. So this is just one of many probably that we'll do.
Sweet.
Yay.
I'm excited.
We'll have to do an update on how wonderful that was then.
Yeah.
All right. My battery just binged and we're done
Right about
here
time.
today. Yeah, it's right about time.
Cool.
It's right about time.
Good conversation.
Thanks
for
indulging
learning
in
about
that. High fives.
the womb. It was very insightful.
Triple
Whoa.
five?
Triple?
Wait. I need to do Jill first and then we'll do a triple.
Okay,
1,
triple.
2, 3, triple.
We
You know what? Let's
did
not
it.
do that
We
anymore.
did it.
Okay. It's a lot.
did it once, don't need to do it
I
again.
don't need to do that.
We attempted and we decided we're not going to do that anymore.
Well, I appreciate your openness to talking about it, especially from 3 different perspectives on it.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I appreciate your openness as well.
Thanks.
We appreciate each other.
We appreciate you.
And our friends!
Super appreciate you joining us.
Thanks for hanging.
We're here every Wednesday, live at 7 p.m.
EST
Eastern Standard Time.
or ET.
Out of virtual
I don't know.
space.
And that's another podcast.
Okay.
T.
Cool.
All right. Bye.
Love you, mean it.
One day
Bye.
we're going to get something where we can turn off from here. But for now,
Come to the retreat. Tell
yeah.
your
else?
friends. Buy it for your mom and your sister and your plant moms in your life.
So yeah.
Yeah. Clam.
Bye.
Clam clap.
Clam
Bye.
clap.
Are we still